Hello, everybody. Anthony Alpha here with you for Anthony Reacts. And this is the AEW Dynamite review. I thought overall, great show. Great show. Things I like, things I didn't like. Let's get right to it. Number one, right off the bat, reacting to the final segment of the show. I like AEW making a decision to get the Hangman Page, Jon Moxley rematch, get it out the way, get it done. I don't think as great as the Texas Death Match was, it was fantastic, all in Texas. If that style is for you, and of course the culmination of stories, all that's great. I don't believe a lot of people are pushing to see the rematch on pay-per-view. Not a PLE that WWE does, like a legitimate, we got to spend $50 for AEW Forbidden Door. I don't think another month of Jon Moxley in the main event scene is fine. But he is due a rematch. And the story in Hangman saying, look, I'm going to prove that I am a world champion. I'm going to prove that I can carry this company. But because I'm champion, it's going to be under my terms. Everyone except the ref is banned from ringside. Love it. Love it. Love it. And they're going to have the match next week. I freaking hate that venue. I hate that venue. But I believe next week will be the final week of shows in that venue until the next time AEW returns to a live arena. Will be right here in Cleveland. The Wolfstein Center coming up on August the 6th. But yeah, I thought Hangman maybe went a bit too far in the open. Again, more blood, things like that. But I just remembered there was something, I got to mention later in the video that's super important that I almost forgot about. I'm glad I didn't. But yes, Hangman and Mox, let's do it one more time for the world title next week. I do have an interesting fact for you. This will be the first time a major pay-per-view rematch from the top show features an immediate rematch for a championship. The last time this happened in WWE. So what I mean is with a WrestleMania rematch taking place on Raw or SmackDown before their next pay-per-view. You got to go back to John Cena, Shawn Michaels. They main evented WrestleMania 23 back in 2007. And then 2 or 3 weeks later, they had a rematch for the championship on Raw, but it was in London. And that was the hour-long contest that I believe ended in a draw or in a no contest. So this does not happen often. Going from a pay-per-view all in is AEW's WrestleMania, going from their version of WrestleMania in the main event to a rematch on regular television. But again, because I believe very few people were willing to spend their money again on Hangman versus Jon Moxley, I actually think it's the right call to deliver this match on Dynamite next week. Pop a good rating. Go from there. All right, a few other things. Hurt Business. I think they turned babyface. And I think fans want to see that. I think fans want to cheer. The Hurt Business, their motto is pretty simple. They like to hurt people. So we saw Adam Copeland, a business arrangement with MVP, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin. It was storytelling throughout the night. MJF at the beginning of the show, no assistance. And then MJF was not out with the guys when this was made. And then MJF was like, wait a minute, where the hell did this come from? And Bobby woke the F up and said, hey, you look at Bobby, it's like, man, he could be a world champion again someday. People want to cheer these guys. They don't want to cheer MJF. They want to cheer the Hurt Business. And I think a babyface Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, #1, will ignite some spark into AEW's tag team division, which is kind of lacking at the moment in terms of box office spark. MVP, keeping it classy, but also MJF, the whole point of him being involved with the Hurt Business in the first place was to keep him on television week in and week out, even when he didn't have a story, which is smart business. Now that he is involved with stories, now that the Death Rider story, for all intents and purposes, is done, MJF doesn't need the Hurt Business, and the Hurt Business doesn't need him. So I like the peeling back of layers. Bobby Lashley's out on MJF. Shelton Benjamin will probably follow soon. And then eventually, MVP will have that conversation because it was his idea to bring in MJF after, weeks of begging. So we'll see how it all plays out. But I think it's a role that everybody served, and now everybody is going to move on to greater pastures. It's going to be a great thing. I do want to acknowledge real quick FTR versus JetSpeed. But I watch every week. I might mess up some of the names, so I apologize. But I believe it's JetSpeed. I didn't like how the bracket was. Hey, we'll release the rest of the bracket on Collision, which basically means, hey, go out there, we're going to do a bracket. Watch the new Hurt Business will be at the bottom of the bracket. So, I thought their match was great. You know me. Gotta tell a story. And FTR, of course, with Stoke. And here's the thing. FTR is great. They're usually on Collision. And, Saturdays, I don't watch Collision. So it's good to see FTR in a Wednesday fight. I like my favorite part of the match from an observational standpoint. As a fan, I hated it. But covering this, I loved it. Dax had, I forgot who, but somebody on JetSpeed had him on the turnbuckle. And he did the knee, the leg to the turnbuckle spot. And the crowd was chanting, one more time. As a heel, you go the opposite. I was curious what Dax was going to do at that moment. Because it's tricky, because on one hand, you're inflicting pain, which is your job. You're a heel. Your job as a bad guy is to inflict pain. However, at the same time, you can't satisfy the crowd. Tough position. Almost a no-win situation. But Dax did a great job. You know what? Rake the eyes of his opponent instead. And then, instead of doing the extended out and then crush, boom. After the rake of the eyes. Don't get the fans what they want. Remember, you're still a heel. You're still a bad guy. I thought FTR did a great job with that. I like where Adam Copeland and the FTR and Stokely did a great job being that annoying heel who's clearly not injured. Great job all around. Great little side feud. Of course, the expectation would be FTR probably dominates, and then Christian comes back. We'll see where that goes. But I liked it. All right. I must be in a generous mood, because that was probably the longest time I spent on likes on an AEW show. It's been a great week of wrestling so far. Before I get to the dislikes, W Energy. Gotta get it. Great energy drinks. No sugar. No artificial flavors. It's a good energy drink. There are energy drinks out there that will destroy your body. This will enhance your body. This will boost your energy. This will get you set and ready to go for your workouts. This will get you set and ready to go for all of your favorite things. And you get the sample pack, and this is one of them. You get one of these right here. Man, pink strawberry lemonade. A lot of great flavors. Got a new supplement that's going to come in pretty soon. W.GG, that's where you can get it. W.GG, that's the website. Again, W.GG, and the link is at the bottom in the description. Type in the promo code SHWP10. Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast 10, SHWP10. And you can, in your order, 10% off of the next order. But this is good stuff. Again, W Energy. Good stuff. Things I didn't like from Dynamite. One is very obvious. The venue sucks. Hate it. What I hate most is coming off of All In Texas looked beautiful. The television presentation was phenomenal. So to go from that to the medieval castle that is Chicago, to do those shows, I understand, look, smaller arenas, you want the house packed, but not a good setting for wrestling. Not a good venue for wrestling. So, again, can't wait. And I praise Hangman and Mox having a rematch, but it's just odd going from the baseball stadium of the first match to they're going to compete at Playhouse Square, Chicago, in the second match. So, that's that. Athena. This is not a complaint about her. I think she's doing a great job. This is a complaint about presentation. When you have somebody who, for better or worse, has spent a ton of time off of your television show. Yes, I know she's been dominant in Ring of Honor in terms of, she's had the title for a while. How many people watching knows this stuff? It's simple in terms of developing a character and then reinforcing why she's a threat. Video packages. Tell me what she did in Ring of Honor. Show me how she has dominated in Ring of Honor. Why is she a threat to Toni Storm? It shouldn't just be the contract. Athena does not have the same advantage that MJF has. MJF has been on AEW television, for better or worse, every single week since day one. Athena has not. So you got to sell the fans on why Athena is that threat. You got to, I need to see tapes of what she did in Ring of Honor. Why Brooke, I think that's her name. What's their story? We talked about this before. Ring of Honor is not on general television. But you can't make the assumption that general wrestling fans watch Dynamite, Collision, and Ring of Honor. And they go out of their way to find Ring of Honor. And that's on top of Raw, SmackDown, NXT, TNA, NWA, all the other stuff. It's a full-time job watching all of wrestling. So you got to reinforce some things. I think that's important. Even if you're only an AEW fan, still got to reinforce what's been going on with Ring of Honor. I think those things will make people really sink their teeth into the story. All right, last thing. I talked about this last night on the NXT show, but I blame the crowd, the paying customer. This is a little different. I'm blaming the performers. Let's see. Will Ospreay says something, and that was blurted out. Somebody else, I should have took the notes. Somebody else randomly cursed, and we didn't hear what they said. There was a few other instances where a performer felt the need to insert a curse word. I understand fans slipping up. Fans, you get excited, things like that. You are the performer. Like, you got to understand, if you are cursing, and if you're cursing, if you say the F, if you drop the F-bomb, if you drop the S-bomb, if you say a-hole, if you say certain things, it will not be heard by the television audience watching at home. The same television audience that you need to call upon to buy your pay-per-views. They can't hear critical moments of your promo if you're just cursing for no reason. For no reason. It's not adding. It's not adding. And it's not even adding to the context of the promo. It's not enhancing the promo. It doesn't even make sense to say. You just want to say it. And I understand, hey, we want to portray being around our friends and things like that. Oh, you curse around your friends and stuff. But here, this is a television show. You got to appeal to the TV show. You got to appeal to that. And these performers don't understand that. Oh, but they're getting a pop in the crowd. Well, when TBS is bleeping out the entirety of the curse word, that also means they can't pick up the crowd noise. It's entertainment, it's television. Yes, in your head, does a promo that includes cursing in your head when you're rehearsing it, does it sound better? Sure. But if your audience can't hear it, then you ain't selling tickets. And it's like Top Stars doing this. It's just, again, Will Ospreay doing this. Various others just dropping curse words just for the heck of it. Doesn't make sense. Makes no sense. All right, that's it. We went a little over, but that's okay. Check out our reacts. Kyle has something coming up as well. And then we got a show Friday morning. Got a lot to discuss. So we'll see you then.